Meatloaf made magic. So we all know meatloaf is one of those things that gets goofed on for being kind of weird, but if you make it right, it is delicious. You can get the whole recipe free on my blog, or for $5 a month you can join my Patreon, where you can get print and e-version recipe cards for your collections. So the nice thing about meatloaf is that it is so easy to put together. I mean, you chop up your onion, you chop up your garlic, you get it in a bowl, and then you just start mixing all the rest of your ingredients. And while this can go a lot of ways magically, I am actually going to suggest it for a date night. The paprika, parsley, tomato, and the anchovies in the Worcestershire sauce, they all encourage the things that make a relationship feel like home. The communication, the passion, the protection, the love, the beauty, it's all there and all in a classic comfort meal. So it's less about date night aesthetics and more about stability and the foundation of a home. And if you're a little wild like my boyfriend and I, you can also put some spicy things in there like Carolina Reaper, although don't put too much because it is a really spicy spice. But after that, you're just going to preheat your oven to 350 and then you're going to mix all that meat together. This is like the only part of the meal that's a little gross because obviously handling meat and egg and all that stuff in here is just a little icky. But it's also what makes the dish so easy because you can slap this together in 20 minutes and then while it bakes for about an hour, you can do all the other stuff like clean the kitchen a little bit, make your sides like your mashed potatoes, you can do all kinds of stuff while this is cooking. Then you just form it into two kind of like brain-sized loaves, where if you are not like me, you cut those onions a little bit smaller so they're not so chunky, and then you cover it with a tomato sauce of your choice. You literally just pour it on there and spread it around until that meatloaf is fully covered. After that, it's getting to bake, remember, for 1 hour, and then you're off to do the rest for like all the, your potatoes and your vegetables, anything you want. For me, I decided on some skin-on mashed potatoes because I love skin-on mashed potatoes. They're also easier because when you don't have to peel them, it's as easy as just rinse them off and boil them. Then you want to drain them after and make sure you don't scald yourself because that steam can hurt. But when I make mashed potatoes, I don't really have cream in the house, so I just kind of toss some butter and some seasonings in there, and I like to try and make the potatoes match the same flavor profile as whatever I'm eating, so in this case we're using garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, and a little bit of oregano for that floral note. You want to also time the potatoes so that they are done right when the meatloaf is ready to come out of the oven. Then you just let it sit for a little bit so it can cool off, and then decide on your vegetables. I didn't feel like cooking vegetables, but I did have this really cool jar of fire-grilled artichoke hearts, so that's what I had for dinner. Although my general advice is to refresh your palate between all of those, thick and hearty and rich flavors with something sour like a pickled food. But otherwise, there you have it, a classic American plate of meatloaf.